You know, there are places in the world that seem to hold time in their hands. Lake Como is one of them. Today, we are not only going to walk along the lake, we are going to travel through centuries. Every wave carries old stories. Every garden hides whispers of poets. And every villa reflects dreams of both the past and the present. I will walk with you as a friend, sharing thoughts, history, and a few secrets of this magical place. As the video begins, the water is calm. It shines like polished glass under the morning light. Boats are resting at the small harbor, and the air is fresh. Imagine for a moment, even 2,000 years ago, Romans came here searching for the same feeling: peace, beauty, inspiration. The famous Roman writer Pliny the Younger had villas right here on Lake Como. He called them comedy and tragedy. In his letters, he described the quiet life by the lake. Reading those words, you realize people have always been drawn here for the same reason: to slow down and to listen. Our first steps take us along the waterfront. On one side is the calm lake. On the other, elegant villas. One of the most famous today is Villa Oleandra, owned by George Clooney, but long before Hollywood arrived. These villas welcomed musicians, writers, and aristocrats. Each villa has its own story. Some were built during the Renaissance, others in the 18th or 19th century. You can still see marble balconies, long terraces, cypress trees carefully planted to frame the view. These houses are not just buildings. They are memory keepers. Did you know that in the 19th century, Como became one of the great centers of silk production in Europe? This is a fact not everyone knows. Local families raised silkworms, and for decades the town was famous for its beautiful fabrics, even today. When you see a silk scarf in Milan or Paris, there's a good chance the fabric was woven in Como. Walking here, you are not only looking at nature, but also at the old energy of work, craft, and creativity. We turn into a narrow street. Cobblestones under our feet, houses leaning close to each other, small balconies with flowers. This is the heartbeat of the villages around the lake. People here still remember old traditions: fishing in the early morning, cooking recipes passed down through generations, weaving silk. The rhythm of life is slower, but also deeper. And, of course, every lake has its legends. Lake Como has a curious one about a creature called Lariosaro, the lake's own version of the Loch Ness Monster. People tell stories about strange shapes moving under the deep blue water. Most take it as a joke, but every legend adds mystery, and mystery is part of the beauty. As the path opens again, we see one of the most cinematic villas on the lake, Villa del Balbianello. If it looks familiar, it's because you've probably seen it in movies. James Bond was here, and also scenes from Star Wars. The villa sits like a jewel, perfectly balanced between water and garden. This is one reason Lake Como is not only a place of history, but also a stage for imagination. Looking at the water, I always think about time. The lake is eternal, yet always changing. Each wave is different, but the rhythm is the same. Human life is the opposite, short but full of moments. Travel helps us to notice those moments, to see that no sunrise or sunset is ever exactly the same. Lake Como is a teacher of patience. We pass by a small harbor. Fishermen prepare their nets. Restaurants set up tables. Local food here is more than pasta and pizza. It is about the lake itself. Trout, perch, and other fish appear in traditional dishes, often served with polenta. Imagine sitting at a small wooden table, with the lake just meters away, tasting fish caught only hours before. This is not just eating. This is connecting with the landscape through flavor. Another secret of the lake, its depth. Como is one of the deepest lakes in Europe, reaching more than 400 meters in some places. This depth gives the water its famous color, a dark, rich blue that changes with the sun. Artists and photographers spend lifetimes trying to capture this color, but it always escapes because it lives only in the moment. Our path takes us into a quiet garden with tall cypress trees. This is the perfect place to pause and listen. What do you hear? The splash of water, birds in the distance, voices in Italian floating from a nearby cafe. Traveling is not only about seeing new places. It's about learning how to listen. What does this place want to teach us? Maybe patience, maybe gratitude, maybe the art of slowing down. Here are a few facts that you might enjoy. Pliny the Younger's villas, comedy and tragedy, were among the earliest luxury homes on the lake. Lake Como's silk industry supplied fabric to fashion houses. For over a century, some workshops still use old looms, keeping the craft alive. The legend of Laria Sorrow reminds us that even in modern places, myth and mystery still live. And, of course, cinema has made Lake Como global. James Bond, Star Wars, and many other films chose these shores. Now we are at the highlight of the walk. The camera opens wide, and the lake stretches endlessly in front of us. Mountains rise like guardians. The wind touches our faces, carrying the smell of water and pine. This is the heart of Como. When you stand here, something quiet happens inside. You feel small, but also connected to something bigger. The lake doesn't ask for attention. It simply exists, and in that calm existence, we find our own reflection. Look around. People react differently here. Some take pictures, others just sit and stare. Couples hold hands. Families share ice cream. Travelers like us stand silently, lost in thought. I believe the lake shows each person a different mirror. It reflects not only the sky, but also the mood you bring with you, Dot, in this moment. I think about culture. Italy is deeply Italian, with traditions, with history, with food. But Lake Como is also international. People from all over the world come here. They bring their stories, their languages, their dreams, and the lake accepts them all. Globalization is strong, but instead of erasing local culture, it creates dialogue. Old fishing boats share the water with modern yachts. Small family restaurants survive next to luxury hotels. It is not a fight. It is a conversation, Dot, as we move to the last part of our walk. I want to share something personal. For me, travel is about learning to listen. Here on Lake Como, I learned to be patient, to wait for the fog to lift, to notice small details like shadows on water, to accept that beauty takes time. Travel teaches us that home is not always a place on the map. Sometimes home is the moment when you feel completely present. Before we finish, I want to leave you with 3 small invitations. First, listen to water every day, even if it is just the sound of a tap. And remember the deep blue of Lake Como. Second, look for one local story wherever you are. Legends, even small ones, make life richer. Third, allow yourself a slow walk. Without purpose, just for the joy of walking. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this quiet journey, I invite you to come back. There are many more places to explore together. Hidden gardens, silent streets, and bright markets. Subscribe, and let's keep walking together. And before we say goodbye, take this image with you. A silk scarf blowing in the wind. A letter written centuries ago, still carrying the smell of the lake and the simple beauty of sunlight touching the water. Until next time, may your walks be slow and full of things worth noticing.